Wake up.
we're trying to figure out if we're alive, but I think we are
I'm
alive.
alive. I mean, like,
Can you adapt? Oh my God, dude, this is so amazing. Scott today just received his amazing digital, what do we call this? A digital
it's
wall,
a
or what do we
video
call this?
wall, LED
Huh?
video wall.
LAD,
LED.
LED video wall. Oh my gosh. And these are pretty expensive and they're heavy. And
Yeah, a
they're-
little bit.
yeah, and even the wheels, they're just so heavy. So
The wheels on the bus go round and round.
go round and round. See, we get around here. But see, Scott's adapting to the new environment of how how do you grow? That's one thing about your business. Each thing, like his video wall, makes him a more valuable player in the marketplace because now he's got something else to offer. Probably his next step maybe would be getting a floor, a dance floor, because he's got almost everything else. So the more you get, the bigger venues you can do. So what are you adapting to you in your environment today to make you better? What I did when I was a kid, I bought more props. So investing in your future. I think we were talking about this last year or last week. We were talking about that when I first started, in like 83 or something, 1983, when I came and got my degree in 88, came out and I was told by the professionals that you invest 20% back in your company. So I worked on that or on education. If you talk to Tony Robbins, education, 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 education. Now, what I did is I did education, going conventions and that, and I bought more props because so I bought more equipment and then I bought better clothing. Each step you go up, you can charge a little bit more and you look more professional and you are better. And go ahead. It looked like you wanted to say something.
Oh no, I'm just over
Okay,
here
so we're adapting to
pondering.
our environment to go to the next step. So he's getting more equipment to do bigger events, and he keeps on bringing new people in to work with, and that's how you adapt and become bigger. And so as you scale up, you're going to have to get more people to help you, and you're going to, you know, what also he's selling to you guys too, which is really cool, is the ability not to be at home or in your office while AI could do your a lot of your office work, like taking that off your back, answering all the phones, and almost selling the sales point. By the time it gets to you, they're ready to buy, or you don't even have to deal with it if they're not ready to buy because you didn't waste your time on that call. But the point is, a lot of times, whoever gets that call first, if they're a good salesman, they get that gig. So you don't know how much money you're actually losing by not being Johnny on the spot, ready to, take action, because some people, and you probably did it too, out there, you probably done that where you're going down a phone book and you say, I need a new refrigerator, or I need a guy to come out because my water's leaking. And you're not really worried so much about price at this point. You're worried about, I need this. And it's the same way with, I need my birthday for my husband to be so amazing. So I need to get the best DJ. I don't need a junky DJ. I need a good one. So all these things. And you want to be there at that first call to say, hey, we're ready for you and we're going to be there for you. And that's if you don't answer your calls for a few days, then most people wouldn't book you even if you sound good. What do you think on that, Scott?
Well, you kind of triggered a class that I was taking here in the last couple of days where they were talking about the sense of urgency, where is something like major, like does it need to happen, or is it something that's just like a minor inconvenience? And the way the coach or the guy was explaining it was that like he explained it like if you have a bum knee, is that something like you're just gonna kind of live with, and or is it something that you're gonna go ahead and take care of. Or and then like he was explaining that between the sense of urgency. Now if you have like a broken leg, you just don't ask a ton of questions, you just need it fixed, right? You're not going to ask, where did my doctor go to school, or you're going to ask like what the cast was made of, what kind of fiberglass is the cast, like you ask as little questions as possible, because you just need the end result of having your leg healing, or whatever it was. And then he was also explaining another thing where if you had something like a bum knee, and then if you could educate somebody to the long-term disadvantages, or the problems that could happen from not taking care of it now, then maybe somebody through education would act on it now, versus like whatever the bad outcome could be further down the line. And you do that with education. So again, being able to adapt. And I think last week I was talking about like I don't like I have all these knowledge or ways to get to the end result. And then sometimes over educating somebody, they uh, probably they just want the end result, right? If you go in and you had a broken leg and you just want it fixed, it's not like you need to know, no, AI is going to answer the phone and then all my problems are solved. Or if AI is answering my phone, like how does that solve my problems, like, or what does that mean for me in the long run? And he was explaining that like money is like a very low um uh quality, right? Like it's somewhere to start, right? So he was saying, well, you could have more money, but like what if you had more time with your kids, or what if you had more time to not be distracted when you're working on a project and AI is answering your phone or something like that? And that's what he was saying. And it's like, well, now me, I have to take this information and then understand, I've been wrapping up the package wrong, right? Or I've been wrapping up the package to where it's not as desirable if I was to bridge the gap with a story, right? So he was also saying stories, right? So you want to use stories in order to, get someone to move. And he was saying, how do you take a stranger and make them a subscriber, right? So you would do that by explaining what your hero journey is, on top of what results you can produce for other people. And I really kind of took that to heart. This is like a 3-day training I'm going through, and they're really short videos. And maybe you've heard something 1,000 times, but you need a fresh perspective to look at it to bring it all together. Versus, yeah, I've heard all these things before, but this guy's a different take on it, which is like could be the same information, but at the end of the day, how many people are you going to listen to get the end results that you want? And the answer is as many as it takes, right? So I was sitting down with this guy's partner. I wasn't actually sitting down with the owner, or the guy who gave out the Tesla, or I did click the button to talk to that guy, but I guess all of his availability was taken up. So I was actually talking to his partner, and the owner, or as I see it, I don't really know much about this company other than Matt is the face, and then Ryan is his assistant or co-partner. I haven't figured that part out yet, but I've been talking to Ryan, which is the second guy. Um, and he was explaining these things, and has you watch these videos, and then it was just really interesting, um, because every niche is different, right? Like I could talk to you about all the problems that I have, or all the problems that I'm facing, and it's not to say that you don't have issues with whatever thing you're up against, right? Like I would never think that my problems were any more significant than somebody else's. Everybody's got their own things they got to deal with, but the answer, or the question is like, how do you get an answer to get to the end results, and are you constantly working on it, and are you seeing other people? Because nothing's going to change without time, money, or energy. And at the same time, you can have all the energy in the world, spend all the time in the world, but if you don't have the focus or somebody to show you the way, then you're just kind of spinning your tires. But if you're not moving, you're not going anywhere. That's for sure, right? If you're not moving, you're definitely not going to go anywhere. So, so what becomes the answer? And the question is, can you adapt? Okay, so AI is like the buzz thing, right? And so what is that going to be able to do for you? What does that even mean? Most people don't, like I was talking to somebody just recently, less than a week, and he asked me something about websites or whatever, and he didn't understand what LLM meant, and I had figured he was further along the way than that. Well, for anybody out there, LLM is like your very basic level of Chat GPT, where it's just giving you words, right? Like LLM, large language model, where you say, hey, look, I want to be able to respond to this email, or make a funny picture, or something like that. Now, the next level is when it starts giving you deliverables like a picture, or it starts to make your website, or it starts to make a funnel, or it starts to build out a workflow. That's when it takes the words and then actually gives you something that you can execute, right? It gives you a deliverable. So I don't know exactly where I was going with all that, other than being like, again, yeah, where I was going with that, right? I could tell you all that stuff, LLM, workflows, automation, but if you're not in my world, it doesn't mean anything to you. You just want to know what the end result is, right? Like, is this what did the coach say that I was like, oh man, it's gonna be stuck in my head forever? Is the squeeze? Yeah, you don't explain this stuff because the squeeze couldn't. It may not be worth the juice. I think that's what he said. I was like, that's so cool. I never like, so I could lose you in terminology. That doesn't help me. Like, like oh, at the end of the day, as a business owner, you're just like, well, I need more clients, right? Can I promise you more clients? Yes and no. I can promise you that when people come into your circle, or they're called leads, if leads come into your ecosystem, they'll feel comfortable with you because you've set up your systems and they have a clear path to book with your service, whatever your service is. And then it's another thing too, where go high level is an all in one. It can take care of anything, right? So they were saying you will lose everybody if you try to solve everything, like, which we should know. That you should know what your niche is. You should just do the one thing, find the people that just want the one thing, and then sit down with as many people as you can to find out what that one thing is, right? So well, I watched an interview with a guy and he was like, oh yeah, I had all these different clients, but it was just taking up all my time because this person needed this, I had to go fix that, this person needed this, I had to go fix that. And then he's like, oh, my girlfriend was like, well, these people just need Google reviews. Like, these people love it and they'll pay you all day for it. Why don't you just do that and get rid of this other stuff? Because that's easy to do. That's one repeatable action, and then you can just multiply it. And that's what he ended up doing. And he makes like 40 to $35,000 a month just doing reviews. And get this, his one and only niche is something like it's called pooper scoopers or something like that, where these local people or businesses will go out and clean up dog poop or whatever in your yard. And as long as they get Google reviews, that's his whole thing. He's making $35,000 a month in this niche where it's just they only want 5-star Google reviews to show that their business is worth anything. Because they are also explaining this other thing too that I thought that was really interesting or fascinating, where um, Google reviews is kind of like the coffee cup. It's not the coffee, but if you have the coffee cup, then you could get the coffee, right? So it's not like a direct sale, it's an indirect sale, but you're more likely to get the sale because you have the coffee cup. I'm sorry, that was my brain spazzing out there on a couple different
And
words.
no, it was good. See, uh, what Scott comes against a lot of times is people don't know what they don't know when they come up to him, and they're not even anywhere in his realm of understanding. And just like he started out, it's like one little bit of AI, the minute, you don't even know what that is. But then there's another level. But that these two are just baby levels, and another and another and another. There's so many levels. And yeah, you don't need to be a doctor to know that you should take the medicine. So what you don't have to go get a degree in AI to be able to use it, or it can benefit you. You don't have to reinvent the wheel or anything. You can use the product that we have and then go from there. So I'm going to tell you, you could study every single day of your life and still not be up with where AI is going. You do not have the capacity in your brain to
I just got through
understand
class
where it's
last week
going.
that I had to throw everything out I knew previously.
I'm saying AI is going so fast that a human cannot keep up with it because our brains are not that, they're just not that. They don't have the computing power of an AI because they could learn everything you've ever learned in like 5, 10 minutes, everything you've ever been taught, everything you've ever learned. And then they could learn 10 or 20,000 times more than that by doing, so just think of that. So we're not keeping up in our intelligence with them, and you're not going to be able to. So what we want to be able to do is use what we can from the AI, like the tools that we can use. And like when you go to a Scott who knows how to use the tools, he can't keep up with all the tools either. So, but he's got these set of tools that can help you now. And 6 months, these tools might be obsolete. Just like, computers for a long time. My first computer was like $2 or $3,000, and it only had 4 gigabytes of 4 gigabytes of memory in it. 4 gigabytes. Now we got terabytes. You got more. You got probably most people have at least you know uh, what 520 gigabytes in their phone, and I only had two out of 4,000. You know, so it's sort of like in also the big screen TVs. The big fat ones. You used to have those big fat ones that weighed about 200 to 300 pounds.
What were those called? Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah.
Consoles.
Yeah, one of my buddies in Wisconsin, he just got rid of one. Like he's had it forever. And like
I
I
gave
went to it.
mine away a long time ago. Now
I went to his house and I'm like, holy cow, you finally got rid of that dinosaur.
Now
And
the
I
to
was
me
like,
now the ones that are that fat are obsolete. So I've got in my house I've got 10 that are that thinning now. And so I can almost lift them myself. Like a 56-inch screen, I could probably lift it. I'd rather have somebody helping me just so I don't scratch it. But I got rid of almost all my fat ones like that. And remember, like this, I got rid of, I don't know, a few years ago, there was a projector screen in it, and it was big and fat and took all that room. So anyway, and we're talking, it went, now AI is 20 thousands of times faster than that kind of stuff. So there's no way to 100% keep up with
so
it. So you don't have to learn exactly to be an AI person to use it. You can get an AI person to help you do whatever you need to get done, a task.
and that's not even saying like everything. Like Jeff, I don't know if I told you this or not, but what was it? Yesterday or the day before Monday, whatever Monday was. I guess that was a holiday, Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Anyway, one of my DJs got married, and we had a really
Oh,
late night.
yeah.
I had a really late night. We provided a lot of the DJ and the gear and a whole bunch of stuff. So anyway, it was a late night, and then Monday rolled around, and I'm waking up, got my coffee, and I'm looking at my email, and this client is telling me that oh yeah, this link isn't working. And I was like, oh man, I'm way too tired to look at this. And then I'm like, how does this guy not know? I'm sitting there going back and forth. How does this guy not know that, right? And then I clicked the link, and somebody hijacked my website. Like it was some sort of German party girls website. And I was like, well, again, back to the title, how fast can you adapt? So could I have taken the time to figure it out? I probably could. I had an idea of where to look, but I didn't want to take like it was more important for me to pay a professional to go ahead and fix this versus me taking the time to figure it out and then probably not doing it 100%. And you're probably wondering how much that bill was. $4,000 on a Monday out of the blue. But my business is all run online. Everything's run online. So I hired a professional. He told me what I could do to like prevent this in the future. And then, well, since he had the hood open, I was like, well, do the SEO for the LED video wall, and then we'll just have to make it up on the back end. So not only did he SEO my website for video wall, he also did wedding coordinator and he did LED floor, like dance floor. And this was something I had on the back burner for some time. It just got escalated real quick when I got hijacked. My website got hijacked. But again, could I have used AI to do it? Could I have puffed my chest up and tried to figure it out and got it up and running? I sure could. I sure could. But was it worth the time it would have took me and the frustration versus a guy that I had on retainer to just go ahead and fix it? And then what is that? That leads back to do what you do best and have everybody, hire the guys that you
Yeah,
like.
that's what I was thinking too. So Scott and I have gone over this many times. Do we, is it more efficient to just get that professional to come and do it? And most of the time it is, and sometimes it isn't. But what he had was so important. If it's so important, it's sort of like if you don't know how to do electricity and you're playing with it and you don't know, you could burn down your house. That is not a good bet. I did all, not all of it, but 80% of my plumbing in the house, my house, and I had nightmares for 4 years. It wasn't worth it. I had this nightmare that one of those things I put together would just spurt all over the house because the first time I did it, it did. I had to jump from 2 floors down. I almost broke my back and neck, and I had to turn off that water. And so sometimes I'm going to tell you 100% it's worth to get that professional. So if there's any danger to be had, so now I used to cut my trees and I did cut some of it, but I'm not going to climb a tree. And I decided since I'm so old right now, I'm not getting on my roof anymore. I'm just going to hire somebody. And I've done it every year till this year. And I'm probably going to 99.9% I'm stopping the stilts. So I'm not going to do stilts. But as you get older, you get more brittle. Now, but sometimes, like he's saying, you just got to bite the bullet. Like they're $4,000. It doesn't matter if it hurts. You've got to do it. Take action. Are you prepared? This is troubleshooting for the future too, because if he doesn't have his computers running and all the stuff he's doing, he doesn't have a business. I mean, his whole system's built with that business and the computing and stuff, and that's how he runs his company. Even if you do have to take a $4,000 hit or a $10,000 hit, sometimes you just have to do that because you know.
Well,
uh,
that's the thing
Go
I
ahead.
find frustrating when I talk to people that want my help or want my advice and they're not willing to spend any money. Like I recently had somebody that was like, "Oh yeah, I really like how your contracting system works." Okay, well, I'll set it up for you. 800 bucks onboarding and $50 a month. I'm an IT person. I know how to do that. I just wanted to know what software you were using. Well, I build these things. like and if you're such an IT person, I'm sure you could go online and figure it out if you wanted to, right? Or I don't know. There's been many, many conversations where I've had, I had another person who wanted me to do sales for them. And then I sat there and I made a whole video. I put it on Loom. It was like 8 minutes of all the different steps and everything that you needed to do. And then he watched it like 30 times and then decided to have a meal with me to talk some more. Shows up 30 minutes late and tells me, I didn't know how serious you were. So I tell him all the different things he should be doing or how I operate. So, and I can show you and prove that all this stuff that I'm talking about works between the hypnosis and NLP training and the SEO training and the certification of GHL and whatever else, I've done. And then he took all that advice, went and followed everything down to the T, except for signing up for me actually doing the services for him. So, maybe I'm just getting a little burnt out. I'm talking to people that think they're professionals but don't have any sales, and yet asking me for my advice and then running off with it. And the more I think about it, I've had a history of that. I've always had a knack for going to school and learning what the newest technology was, or back in the day when MP3s were like a thing. I just gotten out of school for that. I understood, like, and when I say got out of school, like I got out of a $60,000 school to learn what an MP3 was and how it worked and how to do recording, which is stuff people just take for granted now because it's just what it is, right? It just technology became so hands-on or so easy or so accessible where I had that information because I paid the money to go do it, and I was offering my advice freely. And then, well, one lesson that I had to learn is that when I was teaching or training DJs, is that they would just take the advice and run with it and then cut you in the throat and then run off, because I didn't understand that they didn't, like in an NLP training, I didn't understand that if people didn't have the appreciation value, it wasn't going to be reciprocal, because they would just take the advice and then think or think that the world owed it to them, or that's just how the world operates. And I was like, well, man, I thought if I gave you this advice, you'd at least be my fucking friend or have my back, right? And not realizing that, oh, well, I got all this advice, I know what I'm doing now. Bye, sucker, I'm gonna take your gigs, like, and that's a hard lesson I had to learn, and maybe I'm still learning it now because I still think there's decent people out there that are, that want to help or want to jump on board or want to get that broken leg fixed without asking too many questions. But maybe I just haven't figured it out yet, or haven't run into the right people, or haven't ran the right ad, or found the right coach. But if, again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier, if you're not in motion, you're not going to go anywhere. So Again, we all repeat our lessons until we learn them.
We can throw one thing at that is remember if you don't give your time, money, or effort to something, you don't appreciate it. So a lot of times when people get something free, they don't take they take it for granted. So and I've done that before too, you know, doing I've done a lot where I give a lot and I do more like a Zig Ziglar did. Said, help enough people get what they want in life, and you'll get what you want. So that's one way to look at it. The other way is again, uh, sometimes giving too much uh, does bite you in the butt. I've done that several times where a giver gives. So remember here we got this a giver give, a taker takes, and but sometimes the giver has to put up his boundaries to say that's enough. I don't need to give any more because the taker just takes, and that's what they do. And a giver usually gives, and you got to be somewhere in there. Uh, there was another thing I had. My brain sometimes goes bzz, 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 and then I lose it.
Yeah, well, I don't have a ton of time.
Oh, okay.
I gotta go
Well,
pick up my photo booth attendant who's
yeah,
probably
and
still.
the big thing he got is your big wall today. I mean, and
Yeah, I guess I guess that's gonna be interesting to figure out more about. Yeah.
yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, guys, thanks.